This is Carrie back with How to Homeschool My Child. I think I waited long enough, but maybe it cut off part of it. Anyway, I am here. Those of you that registered, signed up for our 3 clues that we posted yesterday. We had our master classes yesterday. I sent you an email telling you a few minutes ago that I was going to be right here and show you the insides of our bundle. Now, some of you may not have even heard about that, so you might be popping on. Great. But as I go through these particular resources that I think would be beneficial to you, please leave a comment. If you have a question about any of them, leave a comment there. If you are have an extra idea, leave a comment as well, because I am here not just to sell you something, although that does help me pay my bills, but the real reason is because I want to share some of the things that I actually learned. Because when the kids were little and growing up, I learned a lot about how maybe to keep our eyes focused on Jesus. Do you have a problem keeping the kids focused? All that commercialism and all those devices like pouring into their head. What I want to do, and what I did yesterday in our masterclass, I shared ideas, but I'm going to share specific resources. I took about 2 minutes of the class yesterday to talk about them. I'm going to spend a little bit more time so that you can see. So we're going to jump right in. Now, the first one is the Star of Let me do it this way. The Star of Bethlehem Family Bible Study. Let me just tell you a little bit about this. When my kids were little, we had a neighbor who actually made an outdoor scene that had 3 paper mache wise men and then this big thing that had the star there. And he had it pointed in the right direction, whatever direction that was. But as he did this and created this, he also started wondering about the star, and he started researching. And we went to church together, and he actually started making a presentation at Christmas each year in our college class. And so my kids and I would sit through this awesome presentation. And it was great for adults. He ended up making a video about it as well. But as I listened, I thought, I wish there was something on a kid's level, not a 4-year-old, but more upper elementary to teenage level, where they could really dive in and discover what is the Star of Bethlehem. And that's when I started using some of Rick's research and creating my Star of Bethlehem Family Bible Study. Now, it is a combination of Bible and science. So let me just show you what you're going to go through. So first, we are going to show you there are 3 different ways that we suggest you could do it. You could do your individual study for children. We can do a family Bible study where you do it all together, or you can do a parent-led Bible study. If you have a lot of kids, I would do this. I would let my teens do the individual Bible study, and then each time y'all get together and talk about a lesson, you can lead it as well. So that's what that is. So what is it going to actually include? First, we're going to dive into science. We're going to dive into some vocabulary. This is a little bit like a homeschool. You can actually use this to tie together your Christmas celebration, your focus on Jesus, into homeschool. So we've got astronomy, astrology, and then a chart to be able to talk about the differences and similarities. Then we're going to move into Matthew 2, and we're going to go page by page and look at Matthew 2 and look at the history of it and what was going on beforehand. Then in Matthew 2, there are actually 9 clues. Rick calls them 9 points of that point to the star. So here we're going to read some verses, and then you've got 3 points that you need to figure out and write them down. Fast forward, I'm not going to show you every page. Then we're going to talk about at the end, what is the Star of Bethlehem? What kind of heavenly body? What did God create that he used? That a star could go backwards is basically one of your clues. And so then we start to study different heavenly bodies as well. And I'm not going to give you the answer, but there is a conclusion to it. This is a great independent study for teenagers. It is a great study for families. I would not recommend it for preschoolers or even young elementary. I would say from middle elementary and on up. It's a great study that you can do as well. So in our celebration bundle, that is the first one that I ever wrote. I'm leaving the one that you're all excited about to last. The next one is Christmas celebrations, because when we were in Idaho, Steve went to seminary in Idaho. Well, actually, even before then, I started to discover that there was more to Christmas than just Christmas. We had Advent, Christmas, and Epiphany. And this book goes through the three holidays, Advent being the coming of the Lord, Advent of the Lord, and our preparation of our heart between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Christmas, that week of Christmas, and then Epiphany are the 12 days after Christmas, leading up to the Feast of Epiphany and the celebration of the wise men arrival at Jesus' birth. Well, not at his actual birth. Anyway, so that's the cover. Let me just show you a few things. One of the things I've realized, I don't know if you've ever heard of a person named Francis Schaeffer. He's a philosopher. He started something called L'Abri over in Switzerland. His wife was huge into hospitality. They were constantly having travelers stop. And here's what Edith Schaeffer had to say. There's something about saying, we always do this, which helps keep the years together, talking about traditions. Time is such an elusive thing that if we keep on meaning to do something interesting, but never do it, year would follow year with no special thoughtfulness being expressed in making gifts, surprise charm table settings, and familiar favorite food. That is what this book is about, trying to build in family traditions that you can actually use. Now, I'm not going to show you, again, every page of it, but we're going to start with, and there are several helps with moms how to survive the holidays, but preparations in November, telling you the different celebrations in November as well. We go into the others like St. Nicholas Day, St. Lucia Day, Advent calendars. Here we have, I don't know how many. There may be 25 suggestions of ways that you could create an Advent calendar and different things that you could do each day to be consistent. And that's going to look different according to your kids' ages and different things of what they're doing. The next thing is it's going to include carols. This is my favorite carol, O Come Emmanuel. So we have the words to it. You can use that for copy work. You can learn to sing it. There's a lot of things. You could look at the history of it. But then at the bottom, I always include in these areas homeschool tie-in. You might want to use this as copy work. Sing it each day after breakfast. Talk about the words and what they mean. And then I tell you, it's one of my favorite songs to sing. You might even learn what the word Emmanuel means. That's a word that most kids don't know. So we go through different songs as well. Then we go through some different traditions, some different symbols, like the candles and the trees. We have holly and the ivy, and then this is God is my strength during the Christmas season and how that ties together. Then I want to give you some ideas, again, to keep the Bible the focus. We're going to give you some fun Christmas movies and some games and stuff. But then I talk about a family devotion jar and how we could actually use a jar and let the kids pull verses out and then take turns reading each day. The final thing was something that was really completely new to me until about 10 or 15 years ago, and that is the celebration of Epiphany. I grew up in a Protestant church, and that was just not really celebrated, even to this day. In the I go to a non-denominational church, they still don't necessarily recognize Epiphany, and yet I think it's a really important thing. When I sang the 12 days of Christmas, I believe they were 12 days before Christmas. They are 12 days after Christmas. Between Christmas and January 6th, the Feast of Epiphany, and every single one of those things has a significance from the Bible, because at the time it was illegal to talk in public about different things in the Bible, spiritual things. And so they wrote this song, and each item in the 12 days of Christmas represents something. I just printed out on the second day of Christmas, and it says 2 turtle doves represent the Old and the New Testament. And some people will actually give a very small gift each day to their kids during the 12 days of Christmas. A few gift ideas would be a new Bible, a family gift of Bible commentaries, or something as simple as bread and honey. Bread, the Word of God. And then I've got a homeschool tie-in as well, and you could do a word study on bread and honey in the Bible and draw your own conclusions. And then I go to the 3rd day and the 4th day. So that is my ebook. That's the second one, Christmas celebrations. Now, the one that is the most popular one of all of them is our Christmas Around the World. Now, I am going to be doing some more live videos here in our group, but I want to give you an overview of what this is, because this is something that I think a lot of people can use to actually tie in Christmas with their homeschool. You can stop your academics and do Christmas things. So let's see what is included in Christmas Around the World. I'm going to give you some ideas. This is planning your unit and how you can get started and how you need to, so you can pick and choose what's going on. One of the fun things that we do include is how to say Merry Christmas around the world. That's just fun. nothing specific. But let's take a look. Here we have Swedish Christmas traditions. So we have general activities, cooking, and Christmas carols. I think this got out of order. There's also a whole section before this about Sweden at Christmas time. I didn't print out all the typed words, but you have the text, then you have these activities, and you would actually click on each of these and be able to take to them. So here's one, and these are all different countries. This is Germany, gingerbread ornaments, and it actually gives you the recipe to make gingerbread ornaments. Here, all of the countries have food. My kids learned great. Pull food out, and they paid attention. Christmas tree tostadas, and how you can make a Christmas tree, and that goes along with Mexico. I also include some Christmas poetry. You can learn for memory work. You could use it for copy work. You could just use it for oral reading and practice. And then one of the best things I like about this is our quick reference chart. You can see each day we've got the different countries. We have the traditions that we get from them, the reading, whether it's a book or whether it's from the Bible, and then our Christmas carols that come from that country, and then the printables and activities as well. Snacks and meals, and then the activities are in the last column. So that's a handy little thing that you can print out and get yourself organized. Those are the three main resources in our bundle, but I will tell you some of my mom's favorite things are our recipe books. We have quick, fast, and easy meals, and there's a lot of fast and easy meals because during the holidays, you need that. Crockpot, I want to say 1,000 or 500. There's a bunch of crockpot recipes in there, and you could convert it to a Instant Pot thing. We didn't have those when I was growing up, so we have crock pot recipes. Anyway, that is there to help you. The other thing that I really like, and I don't have a picture of it, is my husband Steve did a talk on preparing for Advent from a dad's perspective. And he talks about how Israel, last word was from Malachi, and it was 500 years of waiting until Jesus arrived. They were expecting him to come for 500 years. That's how I feel. There are things that I keep begging God for that are right in the Bible, and I am expecting him every day. They waited 500 years. Anyway, Steve talks about waiting, talks about anticipation, talks about Advent, and that's a great audio, especially for dads to listen to. I have an ebook on family traditions. I want to say there's over 100 family traditions in there, and they're sort of categorized, whether it's living room around the fire, or whether it's going out somewhere, or homeschool. And then the last thing is we actually have a book of Christmas carols that you can actually use. You can print this out and be able to sing with your kids as well. Look at the history and look at different things about that. That is our entire bundle. Now, some of you are listening to this after a masterclass, and yes, you get a discount. And I have put that in the description. If you are listening to this on YouTube, you can leave a message and we'll talk about it. But I will have the link. I probably need to shorten the link. And why don't we just do this? howtohomeschoolmychild.com/Christmas will take you to the bundle. And you can actually go and get all of these. If you bought all of them independently, it'd be over $200. And I have people that buy the Christmas Around the World for $15. And then they go and buy Christmas Celebration for $15. And then they go and buy Star of Bethlehem for $20. Well, all of a sudden you spent $50. Well, the bundle with all the extra stuff, and I didn't even name everything because there are Christmas gift books and there are recipe books. There's a lot more in this bundle. But it sells for $47. And so you can actually get it for a lot cheaper than what is normally the price here as well. So if you've got a question or a comment, whether you're watching this on Facebook or whether you're watching this on YouTube or whether you're watching this on my blog, I told people I would put it on my blog, leave me a comment and we'll be sure to answer your questions as well. I wish that someone had set all of this out for me ahead of time, and I wouldn't have to research and spend year after year coming up with all my own ideas. So I hope that my research and my pulling it all together will be a blessing to you. Christmas Celebration Bundle, it includes a Star of Bethlehem, the ebook on Advent, Christmas, and Epiphany, Christmas Around the World Unit Study, 2 recipe books, Steve's dad's perspective on anticipating for Christmas, and a lot of extra bonuses. So, howtohomeschoolmychild.com/Christmas. Y'all have a great day, great evening, great wherever you are. I am Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child. Talk to you later.